Welcome back. And so we continue our conversation on the concern about allegations of Christian genocide in Nigeria. Of course, we know that this comes on the heels of the designation of Nigeria by US President as a country of particular concern and the proposed military invasion by the US. But more importantly, what are the voices, those affected saying about these allegations of Christian genocide? And how satisfactory is the federal government's position that diplomatic talks are ongoing between Abuja and Washington such that progress has been made already? Let's continue our reflections on this. And this is by no means an easy conversation to have. Of course, we're going to speak to, all groups concerned, and so we've extended invitations also to Muslim groups to come speak on the program. But joining us this morning, we have Bishop Wale Oke, who is the president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. He joins us right here in our Lagos studio. We also have joining us virtually from Jos, Plateau State, Reverend Gideon Paramalam. He's the president, Gideon and Fumi Malam Peace Foundation. Good morning, Bishop, and thank you for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
And Reverend, I believe you're with us already. Reverend Gideon Paramalam, thank you for joining us on the program.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning.
So let's start right here in our Lagos studio. Bishop, you have spoken in other, medium, and you've submitted that indeed there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. I'd like you to articulate for us, the reasons for your position. Perhaps you've had, groups, appeal to the PFN in the past, talking about these concerns. What's the strength of your position?
Indeed, there's Christian genocide in Nigeria, and it's been going on for over 15 years now. Now, this administration inherited the challenge. So we're not holding them, we're not blaming them for it. They made it on ground. But we're holding them accountable for the life of every Nigerian, particularly in the church, to stop the genocide. When we're talking about genocide, as you talk of a place like Dogonaya, where one night 501 Christians were massacred. You talk of Benue State, on Christmas Day, there was invasion, hundreds were killed. There was mass funeral. I could not hold back my tears that day when I saw the lineup of coffins. And I said, we're not in active war, and innocent people are being killed simply for the offense of being a Christian. And that has been going on, all over the place. The mass killings are there, the individual killings are there in various states in the north. In one of the states in the north, one of the pastors, when they gave them quit notice, Boko Haram said they should leave the north. He refused to leave. He said, I'm not a criminal, I'm a Nigerian, I'm caring for the sheep. I cannot leave the people of God and go away. And they dealt with him very badly. What did they do? They watched when he went to preach somewhere, and they attacked his family. His wife just had a set of twins. Before the eyes of this woman, they slaughtered the two children like ram. The woman went really crazy, and the church had to do something over a period of time to rehabilitate her. That had been going on. What about Leah Sharipo? Where is she? What about the Chibok girls? Everybody knows that the Chibok community is a predominantly Christian community. The attack had been going on like that in Plateau, in Taraba, in Kaduna South, in Benue State, and it's going on unabated. In fact, since Donald Trump spoke about this thing, killings are still going on in Benue State. Now, we want the killings to stop. And if it is going to stop, we've got to be truthful about it. Jesus Christ said in John 8:32, the truth shall make you free. If we try to play politics with this matter, we will not get to the bottom of it. Let's identify it as what it is, genocide. Let the government take responsibility to do something about it. And we have it on record that specialists in security matters, even commissioned by the government, has submitted reports to past administration on this matter, and they refuse to act on it. We want ASROC to stand up, Mr. President, to act on it. Mr. President is responsible for the life of every Nigerian, Christians, Muslims, whosoever they may be. And we are saying there is Christian genocide, and Mr. President should not deny it, should identify it. Take, for example, if South Africa in those days did not recognize that there was apartheid, apartheid would still be going on today. But because they identified it and they found a way out, and Mandela was so magnanimous, he didn't seek revenge. The church in Nigeria were not seeking revenge. No, but we want it to stop. We want the killings to stop. Whether individual killing, what about Deborah in Sokoto that was lynched while people were shouting Allahu Akbar and they burned her to death? All those things are going on. We want it to stop. That is the stand of the church. Not revenge, but an end to the mindless killings of Christians, both in mass and individually.
Now, you did say that reports had been submitted to government in the past. I'd like to follow up on that, but let's quickly expand the conversation and take it to Reverend Paramalam. The same question to you, but let me just put it in proper context now, this time around. You know, sometimes, or most of the time, when the issue of religious debate comes up, Nigeria is often misrepresented as Muslim North and Christian South, whereas we have both Muslims and Christians in the North. So amid these killings, is it possible that the understanding that Christians are targeted is just circumstantial, bearing in mind that Christians and Muslims sometimes dwell in the same communities in the North? Reverend Paramalam, that's for you.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. Again, I'm glad to be with you. I think that wrong narratives has a way of encouraging impunity. The North is not all Muslim. There are significant Christians, leading Christian voices who live in the North. And when I mean Christians, Christians are all over the North, whether it is Sokoto, Kano, Jigawa, Kaduna, Borno, several. There are Christian communities. But what we have seen in the North Central region and the Middle Belt parts of Nigeria in the North is that the killings have been selected and targeted. No doubt Muslims are being killed in northwestern Nigeria, but Christians are also being killed in places like Katsina, Zamfara, and the rest of them. Now, what you have in the Middle Belt is targeted killings. I live here. I visit those places. I'm also involved in peace work, so I interact with all the stakeholders. You go to certain communities in Plateau, you would discover that Christian communities, most of the attacks and killings take place there. You go to Benue, it's the same scenario. Then you also have some Muslim settlements, Fulani settlements, but you don't have those mass amount or level of attacks in those places. So are Christians targeted? Yes. Have these targeted attacks been sustained? Yes. Let me give you an example. Just this month of November alone, 3 attacks have taken place in Chibok, the surrounding villages. On the 1st of November, a village was attacked in Chibok. That's Borno State, southern Borno, Christian dominated. And on the 10th, another village was attacked. And yesterday, 12th, the first village that was attacked on the 1st was re-attacked. 16 girls were kidnapped. Churches burned. Shops burned. Properties belonging to Christians burned. So are we talking about a distant occurrence is taking place? No. It's something that's just taking place now. As late or as soon as yesterday, 12. So that's the pattern. That's what we have. So it would not be correct to give the impression that we've listened to those arguments and the federal government knows better. The security people also know better. We are not saying that Muslims are not being killed, but I have always maintained that the fact that Muslims are killed, and we extend our sympathies to those families of Muslims that have lost their loved ones. But how does it in any way deny the targeted killings and attacks of Christians? 1. How does it deny the fact that Christians are persecuted? 3. How does it even deny the story of the genocide? We shouldn't be having these conversations on whether there is genocide or persecution against Christians or none. It is real. It is happening. I think that what needs to be done, and we need to join our hands and our hearts together, is for the government to actually work and act to stop this killing, particularly in North Central, in Borno, and also in other places like the Northwest. It's concerted actions to end those killings. I think that's what we should be arguing and pushing for, and not whether there is genocide or persecution or not. It is real from the examples that I've just given. And I've given those examples of Chibok, so we know that it's not just Chibok. What about Plateau State? Just last Friday, 12 people were killed. What about Benue? People were killed. What about Southern Kaduna? People were killed. So that's ongoing. This even in the midst of the debate. I think that as Nigerians, we need to seize the opportunity. We need to seize this moment. It's not about President Trump of America. It's about Nigerians. We can solve this problem internally if we choose to be honest, stand up, and have the political will to work together. And I mean we work together, both Christians and Muslims. I've read some of the releases by the Supreme Council of Islam denying the persecution and what have you. I think it's just complicating our problem in Nigeria. The Muslims need to own up and be honest, and let's work together with Christians to end these killings over Nigeria. Over Nigerians, rather.
All right. Bishop, you know, you mentioned the fact that there were even reports, which is the question Bukola was building on. Maybe you, if it's something you can share, what those reports are. And why do you feel that there is a sense of denial? I don't think the government is denying that there are killings. I think the government only is denying of a genocide. Why do you think that is?
Denying that there is genocide is not honest or sincere enough. It's being political. And we shouldn't be political with the blood of Nigerians. When lives are involved, we should deal with the truth. Now, when there was mass burial in Benue State, it was in the glare of the whole world. The media were there, local media, national media, it's all over the place. Now, reports have been submitted again and again, and I'm not going to go into details on that because they are security reports on the tables of Mr. President. Like we said, not this administration that caused it. When it started over 15 years ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not the president now, but he has inherited both the asset and the liability of Aston Villa. The liability, one of the major liabilities, is that there's targeted Christian killing, like my brother just said. There's genocide, it's in public glare, and the president should rise up and deal with it. Now, for us in the Christian community, we're not asking Donald Trump to come and invade Nigeria. That may make a bad situation worse. But we want to seize the president to seize this opportunity as an occasion to rise up and be very decisive in dealing with this matter. But denying that there is genocide does not win the trust of the Christian community that are at the receiving end. The government needs to win the trust of the church by agreeing that indeed there are genocide. Look at the report that have been submitted to you in the past, and then act on it. Use the occasion of Donald Trump blowing the trumpet to pick the matter up and deal with it decisively. There is genocide in Nigeria. Reports have been submitted again and again. Aston Villa cannot deny that. So they have it on their table.
Bishop, so when you say action needed, I've heard a lot about the needed action. You're the leader, one of the leaders of the church, you're one of the patriarchs alive now. What is the action that do you think the government can take right now under this moment when there's serious attention that can rebuild the confidence and satisfy the Christian community to say, okay, government cares?
First is to identify the problem correctly. You don't call cancer headache. No, you call it by its name. If it is properly diagnosed, then you can now begin to find solution to the challenge. So government needs to be honest about this. And number two, government needs to reach out to the Christian community that we are hurting. I mean, we've just talked about a few now. The case of our girls being kidnapped, married away without the consent of their parents. It's happening across the north, and it's a targeted attack. I've had to deal with a lot of this. Christian girls. I've had to deal with a lot of this in Jigawa State, in Bauchi State, in Sokoto State. Christian girls being kidnapped, married away forcefully without the consent of their parents. And the parents will not be allowed to see the girls for years until they become mothers. And it becomes the norm. They are Nigerians. Their only offense is that they are Christians, and this should stop.
And in diagnosing it, Bishop, and yes, I'm going to take this also to Reverend Gideon, in diagnosing it, why are Christians targeted? And this is not discountenancing that Muslims are also being killed.
Definitely.
Why are Christians targeted?
Now, we do not deny that Muslims are being killed. But you see, it is the Islamic sect called Boko Haram and ISWAP that are behind this thing, and they have an agenda. Their agenda is to impose Sharia as the governing system of Nigeria. And a couple of years ago, they issued a quick notice to all Christians in the north that they should move out of the north.
A couple of days ago?
Years ago. I think that was 2010. And the government did not react. It was a public decree, according to them, that Christians should vacate the north and move to the south. We didn't hear the government speaking and rebuking them and dealing with it and arresting them for inciting confusion in the public. Now, that doesn't sound like government is caring for people that are hurt, people that are being killed, their relations that are mourning, the church that is crying. We have been talking about this for over 15 years. We've presented data, we presented reports, and it doesn't look like the government is identifying with us enough in the north to work with the church to stop the killings. We want the killings to stop. Now, if the government reaches out, I've heard you mention diplomatic, consultation and all of that. Let our government ask for the help of American government in terms of sharing intelligence, in terms of requesting for weapons, in terms of requesting for jets that they can use to deal with the people. Now, if Nigerian government had been able to resolve the problem, would have resolved it. The matter has been lingering for over 15 years. If for 15 years it is still going, like Brother Paramalam said, Dr. Malam said, even yesterday, 1st of November, 12th of November, killings are still going on. The government have not been able to deal with it for over 15 years. Ask for help from international partners that have the capability, the intelligence network to help us. And let them come and help us.
Let's take it to Reverend Paramalam. You are involved in peace work, and over the years, help us understand why Christians are targeted, or the thinking of the aggressor.
Okay, I thank you again, and I totally endorse what Bishop Wale Oke, our president, has shared. But let me just quickly say this. Christians are targeted because of the undeclared policy of Islamizing Nigeria. It's not that Muslims don't want Christians to live in Nigeria, but they want Christians to be subjugated to the absolute control of Islam. The introduction of Sharia points to that. Nobody is saying don't practice Sharia. You cannot impose Sharia on Christian communities and Christians who live in those places. I'm involved also in direct advocacy. I can tell a vivid graphic story of what happened to Deborah Samuel, the builder, and how she was burnt alive. Why was that so? How could Deborah Samuel be burnt alive in the security guard post of a tertiary institution in Nigeria, and it took hours before it happened? How do you subject a Christian girl, promising Christian girl, to Islamic laws under trumped up charges of blasphemy? Simple. She was lynched. And that's one story of what several Christians suffer. So why is that so? When you study the Constitution of Nigeria, please, and I want to challenge that we engage this debate openly. How many times has Sharia been mentioned? Is Sharia mentioned in our Constitution? How many times is Muslim mentioned in our Constitution? Grand Cardis and the rest of it. Go back and look at that Constitution of 1999. How many times did they make reference to Christians, church, reverence, and the rest of it? So it's Nigeria an Islamic state? The answer is no. But it's Nigeria indirectly imposing Islam on the rest of us? The answer is yes. Go to Christians who live in the far north. They will tell you their stories. Their jobs are not guaranteed. Their jobs are only guaranteed based on the goodwill that they receive from their Muslim leaders. Bishop mentioned about Christian girls that have been forcibly picked up and married off. Let me add, there are also Christian men or women who are picked up from their husband's house, and the next thing is their husbands will receive messages from the Sharia court that they are to appear or that their wives have been married off. We have documents, and like Bishop said, all those documents are available. So Christians are targeted. Now, I'm into peace building. So I believe in promoting peaceful coexistence between Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. What I'm simply saying is that it's impossible for peace to reign, sustainable peace to reign in Nigeria if there's no justice. So there are several issues bordering on justice that they need to be addressed. Whatever is good for the Muslims should also be good for Christians everywhere. Now, Christians actually do not get certificate of occupancy to build churches, or even when they build those churches, they don't get it. So their churches, in some places, in the Northwest in particular, they're basically rented. They are the will and caprices of the government.
Right.
Can something be done to change that? There's even a much more trickier issue, which is indigenship, that has also been at the part of triggering some of the attacks that you see in north-central Nigeria. So a Christian can live in Sokoto for as many years as they can live there, but they do not have the right to become indigents of Sokoto state.
All right.
But a Muslim can come into Plateau State and live for a number of years. The same thing in Southern Kaduna, the same pattern, the same thing in Benue. They have the right to ask for funds to be indigents. These are issues that come up in conversations. These conversations. Right. So you hear them out. So you can see the injustice that is reigning. And before you realize that, it becomes a trigger and people are attacked and killed. But much more importantly is in Plateau State, Southern Kaduna State. It's not just that Christian communities are targeted and attacked, but some of those Christian communities, all the Christians have been chased out from their communities.
All right.
Some of those villages have been occupied.
Let's begin
and some of those places are being renamed.
All right. Let's begin to take last words now. Bishop, the U.S. is proposing military invasion, but the federal government is saying we've begun diplomatic engagements. How satisfactory is the position of the federal government about this, conversations?
Now, whatever needs to be done should be done to stop the killings. The life of every Nigerian is precious, and the targeted attack against the church should stop. If the president wants to ask for intelligence sharing, training in counterterrorism, or wherever they know that America has expertise, let them ask for it. For us, we do not want an invasion of America, invasion of Nigeria. We do not want it. We want Donald Trump to cooperate and work with our president and to hold our president accountable for stopping this targeted killing and kidnapping of our members. That's what we want. We don't want revenge, like I said, but we want an end to killings. We want every Nigerian, whether Muslims or Christians, to be able to live freely, walk freely, practice their religion freely, anywhere in Nigeria.
All right, Reverend Paramalam, 60 seconds as well. Bishop says the PFN doesn't want an invasion. What's the position of Christians in the North?
Christians in the North, very honestly, would like to see a complete end to these killings and the targeting of Christians for genocidal killings. We want to see an end to it. And I would also say that Donald Trump would have no business coming to Nigeria if Nigeria gets their acts together. So our president needs to work. It's not the narratives that will end the killings. It is proper action that will end the killings. And the federal government needs to work together with credible Christian leaders and Muslims to see these killings come to an end.
All right. We must thank you very much, gentlemen. This has been by far a very productive conversation. Reverend Gideon Paramalam is the president, CEO, Gideon and Fumi Paramalam Peace Foundation, and Bishop Walioke is the president, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on the program.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you.
As we said, amen to that. As we said, we will indeed continue to mainstream this conversation to represent Muslim groups as well. So that's coming up. Up next, we'll be looking at the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference, and of course, vis-a-vis 166 years of press in Nigeria. So stay with us, we'll be right back.